Okay, new location. This is an angle and the light is intense. This might not work out, but we'll figure it out. Do I have to dim the lights a little bit maybe? I dimmed them. Is that a little better? Nope, that's worse. Okay. I guess we're just gonna deal with an intense shadow covering my face. It is what it is. Hey guys, we are back with another one, and we are in another interesting location because I am currently wrapping presents, and if you could see the anarchy and chaos that's going on behind me. I have all my wrapping stuff out, but I want to make some more progress in this video, and because of that, I have to do this intro and talk about one of the other videos I made. What are you doing? That's a pretty wrapping paper.
Oh, I was hoping you would do some sort of transition right there.
Oh God, I'm not cool enough for transitions. What kind of transition? Ready? Hold on, do it. Ready? She disappeared. Wait, now do it again and I'll come back. Jesus. Okay, now do it again and I'll come back. Try not to hit me in the face. Oh, I'm so trendy.
No Lindsay's were hurt in the making of this video.
No Lindsay's were hurt, except one was minorly concussed in the making. Instant karma. He fell over. Instant karma. Instant karma. Okay, so anyways, it would not be a Lindsay video if we did not get interrupted with nonsense. But anyways, so this is where we're at in this video. I don't know if you've seen it or remember, but on December 22nd of 2023, I made this video, which was my 24 in 2024 list. If you haven't seen any other creator do this, it was the 24 books I wanted or I hoped to make it through in the year of 2024. I did decently well, but I didn't do as well as I wanted to. I am not giving up yet though, because we still have some time. It is December 21st. So we still officially have 10 days left to 2024 where I could try to knock some of the ones I haven't read off of this list. But let's recap what we have read already, and then we'll talk about what's left on the list and see how many we can get through. Okay. Phone obtained, and out of the 24 books on my 24 and 24 list, I have read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 50%. 12 out of 24. That's not even a passing grade. What are the chances we can get me? What is a passing grade these days? 65? I think it used to be 65. Can we get me to a passing grade? I don't know. But let's talk about the ones that I've already finished that we no longer have to worry about on this list. So I have read From Blood and Ash, and I gave this a 4-star. I have read Aragon, and I gave this a 4.25. I read Kingdom of the Wicked and gave this a 3.75. Mile High and gave this a 3.75. I read Assassin's Blade and gave this a 4.5 stars. I did start my Throne of Glass journey with Assassin's Blade. Heavenly Bodies and gave this a 4.5 stars. Guild and gave this a 4.75 stars. The whole Plated Prisoner series is going to end up being 5 stars though. Daisy Hates and gave this a 4.25 stars. Belladonna and gave this a 3.25 stars. Hooked and gave this a 4-star. Iron Flame got a 4.5 star. And then Gideon the Ninth unfortunately got a very generous 2-star from me. The more and more I think about it, I don't think it even was a 2-star. But just for effort and concept alone, we'll give it a 2-star. So those are the books I've currently finished. Those are the 12, the half of the list that I have finished. But this week, I really want to try to get some more of the list accomplished. So let's briefly throw a picture up on the screen. These are the books that I have left. These are the 12 books that I have left really quickly. I have Blood Mercy, Vicious, Billy Summers, Mistborn, More of Us to the West, The Witch Collector, To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, House of Beating Wings, Caraval, Shadow and Bone, A Crown of Oaths and Curses, and Trial of the Sun Queen. So those are the 12 books that I have left on this list. I want to see how many of them I can get through this week. And I'm already on a good trajectory because I had a ton of errands to run today. I'm obviously wrapping presents and just kind of standing here and getting some stuff done. And while I was doing that, I had the audiobook of Trial of the Sun Queen by Nisha J. Tooley playing in my ears. So I went to Target, I had to go grocery shopping, I had to run to another store to get Christmas labels and tape. I've been standing here wrapping and I've just been listening to this. And I have been listening to it primarily on 2 times speed. However, there's something about particularly the narrator's voice and cadence in this audiobook that I'm having trouble like listening to that quickly. So whenever the male narrator comes on, I have to lower it to 1.7, which is fine. It's just something about the way that he speaks and the speed that he speaks at. 2% or 2 times speed just sounds like very chipmunky, and I can't listen to it and absorb it as well. So according to my calculations, I am now on chapter 21 on page 220. And according to Goodreads, I'm about 57% of the way through the book, which is insane. That just like going about my daily life today, I've read over half of this book. That's crazy. So I am confidently over 50% of the way through the book. I'm confident that I can give you enough of a synopsis to have it make sense. So when we begin this book, we meet our main female character, Lore, who is in this brutal prison, and she was thrown in this prison as a child. She's been there for about 12 years. There is no mention of her parents. I'm pretty sure her parents may be dead, but I don't think that's really been confirmed in the story yet. But she has been thrown in this prison as a child with her brother and sister, and she has spent the last 12 years there. And there's really no reason why she's there other than the Aurora King, who is the ruler of this Aurora kingdom, this land, is just this evil man who I'm pretty sure is like has fae powers and doesn't like humans. I think that I'm realizing that our main female character Lore may be a human, and that's why she was thrown in this prison. They're kind of like the dregs of their society and just like get rid of them, throw them in this prison, lock up the key, wait for them to go. You know what I'm saying? So long story short, she is punished for something that she does and is put basically in this like pit. It's called the Void as her punishment. And she is taken from the Void by this fae who brings her to a southern kingdom out of the Aurora kingdom and tells her that she is basically now the charity case in this bachelor deadly trials type of competition where they are trying to find a queen for the Sun King's kingdom. So you'll marry the Sun King if you are the chosen one and if you survive these trials. But the catch is, the question throughout the book is like, why of all people? He has these other beautiful, noble, cultured women that were, of noble families and were bred for this, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like they've learned this stuff their entire life. They were destined to be queen because of their families. Why is she selected, this prisoner, this street rat? Because they're telling these people that she came from this poor area called the Umbra. Why her? Why is she taken? And I'm starting 57% of the way through the book to realize that there's more to Lore, and I don't think she even realizes it. I don't think it was coincidental. I think there's a reason she was chosen, but I don't know. I guess we're just going to have to keep reading to find out. But the catch to the trials is that typically one lower society person is thrown into the trials to show the rest of the kingdom that it's not about how your family and money. You could still potentially be queen. And that's kind of the perception that they give the rest of the kingdom, but it's not true because up to this date in history, none of the lower society charity picks have won. So it's kind of assumed that she's either going to be killed in one of these trials or she's going to get eliminated and sent back to Nostraza, I think is what the prison is called. But I'm liking it so far. It's good. It's a bit Wattpad-y. It's not YA. It's new adult, almost flipping over into adult at this point. It might get a bit more adult in the last half, but up until now, there's been like a little bit of spiciness, a little bit of spicy words, a little bit of coarse language. So I would say at this point it's sitting on like, it's teetering on the line of new adult. It's probably going to get spicier, so I'm assuming this is categorized as an adult book, but I'm liking this so far. So right now I'm going to put my earbuds back in, and I'm going to continue wrapping, and I will return when I have an update, hopefully in better lighting. Next morning, and I'm here to report that I did officially finish Trial of the Sun Queen. And it was good. It was good. I mean, is it my favorite book of the year? No, but I'm giving this a 3.75 stars. And here's why. It was super entertaining. I liked that it had like more adult elements. It definitely wasn't YA, so I liked that. I love a deadly trial. I could read about a deadly trial over and over again. However, with that being said, what ends up happening oftentimes, not only with the deadly trial trope or plot line, but just in general, is that they all kind of seem similar. Like they all kind of seem like they're following the same mold. You know what I'm saying? So did this blow my mind? Was it revolutionary? Did it do something that's never been done before? No. It was a Bachelor style deadly trial. Which one of you is going to win the prince's or the king's heart and become queen? And yeah, it was good. It was very Throne of Glass. It was very like Powerless. It was very, what's the other one that does it? Like Hunger Games, except more on a romance plot. It was like, this is what it was like. The Hunger Games meets the Selection series. That's what it was. Because it wasn't Hunger Gamesy in like, oh my God, you and your whole family are gonna die. It was like Hunger Games with the Bachelor style of the Selection. That's how I'm gonna describe this. I don't think I'm probably the first person to do that. I have no idea, but it just came to me because I was like, it's Hunger Games with the trials, but not with the romance. The romance was very Selection, so yeah, 3.75. I liked it. I'm absolutely going to move forward in the series. It was very good. Okay, so now here we are with our 24 and 24 list, and we officially get to check off Trial of a Sun Queen and add in our 3.75 star rating. There you go. There it is. And now looking at the rest of our list, we have to figure out where we're going next. Blood Mercy, no. Vicious, maybe. Billy Summers, no. I think I'm kind of off of the Billy Summers kick. Mistborn, no, not feeling it. The Witch Collector, no, not feeling it. To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, maybe. House of Beating Wings, maybe. Caraval, maybe. Shadow and Bone, wait. A Crown of Oaths and Curses, no. And More of Us to the West, maybe. Okay, so Vicious, To Bleed a Crystal Bloom, House of Beating Wings, or More of Us to the West. Those are the ones that like I think I could do right now. Or Caraval, right? Did I say that? Caraval. Okay, here's the thing. I have Caraval on audio. I think that's, oh no wait, I have a couple other ones on audio, but I have Caraval on audio. So what if we did this? What if we started Caraval as my audiobook and More of Us to the West as our physical read? Because let me get More of Us to the West and show you guys why I'm a little hesitant to start it. Okay, this is More of Us to the West. It is really beautifully floppy, honestly, but it is massive. I think this is almost 700 pages. Yeah, almost almost 700, something like that. It's 600 in the physical book, but I have it on Kindle, and I think, oh yeah, the writing is tiny. It's almost 700 pages the way I have my Kindle formatted. It is a long book. So I'm going to physically read this, but I acknowledge that this is going to take me a while. And it is currently December 22nd, and I have a ton of errands coming up. Like right before the Christmas season gets kind of chaotic. I have to buy stuff to make for Christmas Eve and Christmas for cooking. I have to finish up with last minute gifts. I have to wrap. So I definitely need something to listen to audio, and I don't have this. Do I think I'm going to have all the time in the world to sit down and really prioritize reading this? I don't. So I want to pick this up physically because I'm dying to read it. And it literally, I think, has like a 4.6 star rating on Goodreads with like tens of thousands of reviews. That is one of the highest rated books I've ever seen on Goodreads. So I'm dying to see what all the hype is about. However, do I think I'm going to have a ton of time to sit down and read this? No. So I think I'm going to start Caraval audio and physically pick up More of Us to the West. Sounds like a plan. I think we have our plan together. So let's go ahead and do that. Merry Christmas morning. Oh my goodness. It is a couple days later and it is Christmas morning. It is my favorite morning of the entire year. I am not even going to like pretend to be able to bring you upstairs because you should see my living room. It is a disaster area, as it should be. On Christmas morning, your house should be an absolute wreck. Like, it just should have wrapping paper everywhere and empty boxes everywhere. We've been trying to clean up as we go along, but we open up our presents and our house is a wreck, and then we kind of clean up, and then my father stops over and we open up his presents, and then the house is kind of a wreck, and then we go to my aunt's and we get presents and wreck their house, and then we come back and the house is just a wreck from unpacking all the presents from there. So it is a solid like 3 or 4 day cleanup process over at this house, and I would not have it any other way. I'm fine with that. So Merry Christmas to all who celebrate. Happy holidays to everyone in this area of the world, or area of the season, I guess I should say. But I do have a couple of reading updates for you because although it has been a couple of days since I recorded, I have still been reading. So sip of coffee and then we'll talk. It's such a good one today. It like warms the soul. Now we do the things. Okay. So, like I said before, I wanted to start with listening to the audiobook of Caraval, and I did listen to it and I completed it. So we are done with Caraval. I'm giving this a 3.75 stars. This was very good and I enjoyed the listening experience. However, I've talked about this umpteen times, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but this is very YA, right? Like the writing feels very YA. I don't know how to describe it. Just YA books have a certain type of vibe to them, right? Obviously, they're for younger adults, so I don't always identify. Like, I found the main female character in this just a bit over the top, and especially her sister in this book was like, Donatella was like way over the top, super selfish, super self-absorbed. And it was written in a very like ostentatious, boisterous way, as YA is, because there's a lot of big emotions, a lot of big feelings, and we have over the top reactions to things when we're YA. Okay, so it is kind of it's probably written very accurately. I also feel like I wasn't your typical teenager. Like, I wasn't like that. I've always kind of been very like level-headed. I didn't really ever have these like big emotions and these big like dramatic reactions to things. So sometimes I read about it and I'm just like, I can't relate really. And now that I'm 36, I especially can't relate. And I do have a teenager that's a little dramatic sometimes, if we're being honest. I don't want him to hear me. And that's kind of my reaction when he does that. I'm just kind of like, oh, Bubba, I know your feelings are huge. We know. However, this is not that big of a deal. And that's kind of my reaction as I read and as I read this book sometimes, that like the reactions to things were kind of sometimes over the top. And her sister was a little bit insufferable. I found her like very self-absorbed. But let's discuss what it's briefly about. Okay, so if you haven't read it, in Caraval, you follow our main female character, and I can't remember her name off the top of my head. Scarlett Dragna. So after a horrible argument with their horrible father, Scarlett's sister Donatella goes missing, and because Caraval also happens to be in town, and as girls they wrote every single year begging for Caraval to come near them, and it's never happened, and now it is, Scarlett makes the very good assumption that Donatella ran off to be a part of Caraval, and it turns out that she's correct, and Donatella is now missing somewhere in Caraval, and Scarlett wants to find her. And I mean, I guess the whole point of it was to be like mysterious, and it's this mysterious, magical, whimsical carnival, and you really like the up is down and left is right and blue is red, and it was supposed to be that way, like that kind of carnival, like you don't know what's going on, almost like ethereal and dreamlike. However, it was almost too convenient sometimes, and I don't know, it's hard to talk about it in a spoiler way, but you know the infuriating moments or conclusions in movies where you watch this 2-hour long movie and then the main character wakes up in the end and it was all a dream, and you're like, really? It was all that whole time and it was all a dream? None of this happened. Like, you spend 2 hours trying to figure out the movie and you're like, oh, it wasn't real. That's kind of how I felt about this, and that's not giving it away. I'm not saying that is exactly what happened, but that vibe that like you read this entire book and then it's some of the things, the way they wrapped up in the end was just like very, it almost felt like a cop-out, like a scapegoat, like, oh, that was the mystery of the carnival, so you'll never know. And you're like, oh. I mean, I'm going to continue. It was a 3.75. It was good. And one thing I will say is that Stephanie Garber's writing is 100% for me. I really enjoyed the writing in this book, and I can just tell that Stephanie Garber's writing is great. I hope that as the series progresses, or even into, what's it called? The Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I'm hoping that her writing maybe starts going a little bit more at the bare minimum, like new adult, so that maybe I have a little bit easier time like connecting to the characters or relating to them in some way. But I did really, really like this, and I am going to continue. Okay, so now, without further ado, we can update our list. So let's go ahead, Caraval. There it is. Check it off. There you go. And let's add our 0.75 star rating. There you go. Okay, so that's another book checked off. And now let's talk about what else I've been doing since I finished Caraval. Okay, after I finished Caraval, I also held up to my other thing, the other part of what I said, which was listening to Caraval and reading More of Us to the West by Trinity Dunn. I have in fact been doing that. This is a chunker. It is like 600 pages. It is a chunker of a book, but it's beautifully floppy, and it's honestly been reading really easily. I am 526 pages in out of just under 600 pages. I think it's like 596 pages, 595 pages, somewhere like that. So I think, as per my calculations before I started recording this, I think that's like 89% of the way through. So for my visual learners, it's that. I've read all this, then I have that little sliver to go. I will be trying to finish this today, but it is Christmas Day, and I am going to my family's house, and obviously it is a family day, and a play with new toys day, and an eat yummy food day, and a hangout day, so I don't know that I will be prioritizing reading, but I have this tiny little sliver left to go, and I am really liking it. So what this book is about our main female character, Elena, who has been through a lot of really traumatizing things in the last few years. And because of the way that she's coping with these traumatizing things, she has driven her husband, Chris, away. She has really kind of ostracized him and ostracized everyone, but Chris takes the brunt of it because they live together. And Chris has also been not as supportive as he should have probably been. Like, it's kind of been like the perfect storms of trauma merging and people not giving the other person what they need to recover and cope and heal. And because of that, instead of taking this trauma and healing together, they're growing apart. And she's also done it to other members of her family, but she's in this very traumatic situation and she's not handling it right. And they decide to try, Chris and Elena decide to go on a trip to try to reconnect. And all of this is on the back, so I'm not giving away any spoilers, obviously. So on the flight to their trip, their plane crashes and Chris is presumed dead. The back of the plane is gone. Elena had gotten an upgraded seat to first class and the back of the plane is completely destroyed. It's gone. They have never found it. However, some of the people in the front of the plane were able to survive, and one of those people is a old child actor named Jack, who Elena used to watch and really like. And the survivors congregate on this island, and they have to survive. And basically, once again, no spoilers, Elena is now stuck on this island getting to know Jack for months. I think at the point that I'm at now, they've been there for like 6 months, I believe. And I think it's kind of exploring the way that her relationship was and where she went wrong in her previous relationship and the way that things are progressing now with Jack. But it also touches upon the guilt of moving on and the quote unquote right to move on through grief. It's very good so far. I am liking it. Do I feel as though it needs to be 600 pages at this point? I don't. However, it's been very enjoyable to read and very easy to read, and I do like Trinity Dunn's writing, so I'm going to try to finish this today. All right. I'm still trying to figure out an angle that like works in the car, but this is at least better than seeing the top half of my steering wheel. So hopefully this is a little better, but I have updates. It is the next day. I'm currently at the park in my town because a couple of the presents that my kids got, my older son got a really cool drone and my younger son got an electric scooter, and this park happens to be a loop, and my younger son wants to ride his electric scooter while my older son flies the drone behind him. So they're doing their thing, and this is the only moment of peace that I'm going to get because hashtag mom life. So anyways, a couple of updates. As I said yesterday, it was Christmas and I prioritized hanging out with my family and making sure that they were all good. However, I did get several moments to sit down and chill for 10-15 minute increments, and that resulted in me finishing More of Us to the West by Trinity Dunn. So that is yet another book that is off our list. My son has my phone he has it attached to his drone's little controller, so I can't check it off right now. We'll do that later. But I did finish More of Us to the West, and I am giving this a 4-star. It was very, very good. However, I am going to stick with what I originally said before, that it was too long at parts and it was too rambling at parts. And I think part of that was, in fairness, done intentionally because it's a stranded on an island story. So I think she was trying to capture the monotony of most days and like the monotony of survival and things like that. However, I think we could have gotten it in a more efficient way. I don't necessarily think that this book had to be 600 pages. I think it was like 595 pages. I don't think that that was necessary, but it was very good, and I am intrigued. It brought in like a potentially like sci-fi time travel element towards the end, which is cool, and I am intrigued as to see where she's going to take this particular story with that angle. So I'm giving it 4 stars, and I am going to continue. We have to try to fix this angle because the up double chin look is not my favorite. Hold please. Okay, that's slightly better, I think. I don't know. Oh, here's Cole. Hello, child. How is it?
Good. Can you record me?
Dylan has my phone.
Oh, no, with your camera.
I can't flip it around. Hold on. Let me see if I can flip it. Okay. What, do you want to show them?
Yeah.
Do you want to ride away and I'll see you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ride away.
They catch him riding dirty. Oh, here comes, I hear the drone. Where's Dylan? Not looking for cars. Awesome. Great. I do not think that's the only interruption we're going to get, but that is okay. That is okay. They're having a blast. The drone is up flying above the trees above my car right now. That thing is so cool. I'm equally fascinated as to the stuff my kids get. I was riding the scooter yesterday and it is really, really fun, but it's minorly terrifying that my 10-year-old can go like 30 miles per hour because the scooter is a beast. So, but he's having fun. So this is a side story rant, but here's my philosophy on being a mom. Injuries are inevitable. We can try to prevent them, of course. However, teaching our children how to be cautious and teaching our children how to be responsible, acknowledging that injuries are possible, but also not letting them limit them in life and not letting fears control their experiences is something that I'm learning as a mom, because it's so easy to want to put your kids in a bubble and to just coddle them and want them safe at all times, obviously, but also teaching them how to fly a little further from you and be independent and be responsible outside of your eyesight, and also not allow themselves to not experience life because of fear. And I think that's something that I don't want to project on my children. So yeah, anyways, that was, I don't know where that deep thoughts with Lindsay came from, but watching my son cruise around at 20 miles per hour on a scooter and all that stuff is testing my philosophies and my theories as a mom. Here comes the older one with his drone. Hey, Bug. That thing's cool. Okay.
There you go.
How far away can it go?
Pretty far. Well, where is it?
Right there, over the soccer field.
I see it. Go this way.
Okay, so after deep thoughts and another interruption, we are officially back to books now. So I did finish More of Us to the West. We'll check that off when we get home. And then I was at my aunt's house yesterday, and I wasn't quite sure what book I wanted to start next. So I looked at our list, and I decided to start listening to the audiobook of Vicious by V.E. Schwab. And I'm now about 120 pages into the book, and I'm liking it. So I'm going to continue listening to that while I walk the loop with my kids and make sure that they're okay. But we are making progress, just not filming much. And that is the holiday season, and it's okay. I am trying to decide, depending on how long I know, I saw him crash it. So my son crashed his drone. Of course he did. So I'm trying to decide if this is going to be the last book from our list that we check off, and I just accept that 24 and 24 isn't going to happen, which I kind of knew, and how many I'm going to continue to read, but we will see. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. This is so random, but do you want to know what I've had stuck in my head literally all day today? The bum, 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 bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Bum, bum, ba, bum, bum. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. Like, just the melody from the Elf movie. Like, Elf with Will Ferrell, just the theme song, but only the melody. I don't know why. I must have heard it somewhere, and now I've been doing it all day. I've been walking around. We were at the mall, and I was walking around the mall going, bum, 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 bum. It's been stuck in my head all day today. I can't get it out. I must have heard it at some point. But anyways, separate story. I wanted to come in and check in because I continued reading Vicious by V.E. Schwab today, and I am now on chapter 35, page 173. According to Goodreads, that's like 46% of the way through the book, and I feel comfortable kind of like checking in on my thoughts and what it's about now. Full disclosure, it is now the next night. So last night when I was just about to give you guys a summary for Vicious, my husband came home from the gym, and when my hubby gets home from the gym, I drop everything and I run upstairs and I go and talk to him about our day, and this is the first chance I'm getting to come back because my niece and nephew were here last night. So I'm always in a state of family craziness. So this is the first chance I'm getting to come and talk, but I'll give you the summary now. So if you guys haven't read Vicious, or if you don't know what it's about, it is about these two pre-med students named Eli and Victor. And basically in their pre-med program, they need to declare a thesis. And Victor wants to do his on the effects of high levels of adrenaline on the body. And Eli wants to do his on basically like special talents and abilities that happen after potential near-death experiences. And they put their heads together and realize that it's actually what creates these extraordinary abilities is a combination of both of their theses. It's a large amount of adrenaline, typically during a near-death experience, that when you come back to life, you have these special abilities and you're an extraordinary. However, through the course of the story, they're realizing that these extraordinary abilities might not be a good fit for the rest of the world. And essentially, it's an exploration of what happens when we play God, quote unquote, right? Like when we take it upon ourselves to get involved in certain things that should only be controlled by God. It's a very interesting book. And at this point now, just to get it out there, I finished it. And I'm giving this a 4 stars. It was very good. This was my first V.E. Schwab, and I do really like her writing. It was good. And she tackled a very potentially complicated topic and a very complicated storyline in a very easily accessible way. I never found myself very confused, which is really a hallmark of a fantastically talented writer, because the way that this plot is written and how many characters are discussed, and each different character has a different special ability. If this wasn't done by a masterful writer who really had a grasp of her concept and a grasp of her craft, it could have gotten very muddled and confusing, and it didn't. It was written very, very well. So honestly, a lot of these 4 stars are not only for its creativity, but also just for V.E. Schwab's writing in and of itself. I think the only thing that kind of happened was I got a little bit bogged down by it. There were parts where I found myself just kind of like losing a little bit of interest. It was very good. And in full disclosure, I have found that this does typically happen when I'm reading. Like, my brain kind of filters out information that I just don't deem as important, and it kind of seems like extra. But the storyline and the plot was so interesting that I definitely will be moving forward to the second book, which is called Vengeful. And I really, really liked V. Schwab's writing, so I could definitely see myself picking up more of her work. It was very, very good. But now what we can do, we can grab my phone, now that I actually am back in front of my camera, screen record and pull up my 24 and 24 list. So here you go. Here it is. And as you can see, I did check off Caraval. I gave it the 3.75 stars. I checked off our Trial of the Sun Queen, but we can go ahead and check off More of Us to the West. And I did give that a 4 star. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let's keep this consistent. And then we can also check off Vicious and give this a 4 star. Okay, guys, and just like that, of my 24 books, I have completed all of these. Look at that. That's pretty impressive. Like, I'll take it. I will definitely take it. And then the ones that I haven't finished, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them. So I finished 16 out of the 24. That is not horrible. What is that as far as percentage-wise? So I finished 67% of my 24 and 24 TBR. Actually, it's not that great. It's not that great, but I'll take it. That's okay. I did all right. I'm happy with that. So with that being said, if you have made it this entire way, comment the lightning bolt emoji for some of the themes between More of Us to the West and Vicious that we read about this week. And then go ahead and do all the things that you are so professional at doing. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll get back to you in the next one. Bye, guys.